Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on the Creative Retreat channel today, and I am working through Sufficient Grace, which is the June Faith Art Box. I will be using just the faith-filled digitals today, and hopefully I can inspire some of you guys that only pick up the faith-filled digital and the digital devotionals that you can make some beautiful pages with just that. I'm going to start off with my favorite background method, which is a smooshing method. I just add some distress ink onto some packaging. I spritz it with my distress sprayer. You can use any water spray, and then I add that color to the background. The color I'm using is Tattered Rose, which is a very faint creamy peachy color, and the reason I'm using that is because I want to create a soft background just to place my items on or my elements on, and I don't want it to stand out too much, so this color is perfect for that. I go ahead and grab the Faith-Filled digital journaling cards, and I'm going to do something here which can help you if you like to create flip ups. So I cut a straight line, and what it's going to do is when I flip this up, I can just fold that along the bottom, and when I flip it up, there's going to be some journaling space, and I can do that without having to cut both of them. So I'm just going to glue both of these together. And so if your flip up is going up versus sideways, this is perfect because when you flip it up, you'll be able to have the other journaling card right side up, so to speak. Hope that makes sense. I grab my crocodile and I cut off, or I go ahead and round the corners on this journaling card. And now I'm going to look at what elements I want to use. I am in love with all of the beautiful colors and florals in this. It just reminds me of spring and summer. And I knew that I wanted to use these words right here to create my title at the top of the page. So I'm going to cut out the words that I know I'm going to use. And then the words that I may not have on these title starters in the Faithful Digitals, I'll go ahead and handwrite those in. I'm going to take advantage and use up all of these florals. I tend to sometimes use the elements or leave the elements that I love the most and hoard them. But this month I want to challenge myself to use all the elements that I love the most on one page. So I'm going to grab all of these florals and try to have them all on one page. And so you see me as I'm cutting these elements out, I go ahead and start arranging them on my page, just finding a place for them. And as you watch me kind of put this page together, I want to talk to you a little bit about the devotional and my page here. I am journaling in 2nd of Corinthians chapter 12, and we're focusing on verses 7 through 10. Honestly, I really just related to Rebecca. She talks a little bit about her story and how she has struggled with some health issues and how these verses have been an encouragement to her during her time and during this season. I can definitely relate to this, and I feel like anybody can. When you are tired, when you feel like you've had enough, and it could be mentally tired, it could be spiritually tired, maybe emotionally tired, but when we find grace in Jesus, He makes this beautiful work in our hearts as we are going through these tough seasons. And I really love the portion when she talks about that sometimes we obsess about the thorn and about being afflicted, but God tells us that His grace is sufficient for us. And I love how she talks about that the sufficiency of His grace is actually personal. And so that really, really stuck out to me. And I knew I wanted to make a page about God's grace being sufficient for me. When we think about God's grace, we think about it being available to everyone. But in hard situations like this, I believe it helps for us to make this personal. His grace, the one that is abundant and good, that grace is sufficient for me in whatever I am facing at that moment. So this page, the title is going to be His grace is sufficient for me. And under that flip up journaling card, I'm going to have some journaling just talking about how God's grace is both abundant and sufficient in my time of need. And then I write out a little bit of prayer out to God, thanking Him that I have exactly what I need, even in those tough days, it's him that I need, and I can find that in him. 2nd of Corinthians chapter 12, 7 through 10 reads, "So to keep me from becoming conceited, because of surpassing greatness of revelations, a thorn was given to me in the flesh, a messenger from Satan to harass me and to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times I have pleaded the Lord about this, that it should have leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Here on the screen, I am actually writing in the words "is" and "for me" because they were not in the Faithful Digitals. And then I go ahead and erase the pencil marks. I'm going to add my date towards the bottom here. Then I'll grab my scissors and I'll cut off any of the elements that are hanging off of my page. And I will also grab my journaling pen and block off the verses that I am focusing on for this page. And I also grab a highlighter and I highlight the words, "My grace is sufficient for you." Lastly, I will go ahead and put the last floral element, and I'm going to be journaling under that card and adding my prayer off screen later. My teammates have some beautiful pages coming up this month, so I hope you consider subscribing. Thank you so much for joining me, darlings. God bless. Bye.